TV besties, TV besties, TV besties. Yo, this episode, these last four, episodes were so juicy, so messy. Things are really getting real. And this is usually around the time where the friendship, the bonds are really, really start to bond in. The circle gets real messy, kind of like when it starts to playing them against each other, and people really starting to remember, forgetting that this is a game. This is a game, and things start to get personal. Things start to get personal, and the hacker being in the circle, woo! But I could not be so proud on how good they was really able to really sit, investigate. Finally, we're seeing through Jen. Finally, y'all are waking up and seeing that Jen is, oh, she's not who she says she is. Like, y'all what's been making me so mad. Okay, calm down, Ash. Calm down. Y'all, what's good? I'm Ash. If you're new here, sit back, relax, like this video. We got to make sure we get out to as many people as possible. So, bang the bell, subscribe to the channel. You want to be here, okay? You want to be here when we drop these good old videos, my good old recaps. You get my commentary, my good old entertainment that I'm going to give for y'all. Basically, you can get my thoughts on the episodes and everything that happened. So now that we got all the formalities out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this, okay? So Shubi was blocked from the circle, and not only was he blocked from the circle, he basically went to go see Jen, which allowed Jen to have power to be a hacker. Let's first start off the fact that first off, everybody had egg on their face once they realized that Shubi was Sasha for real. And even more egg on their face because I know they was all like, dang, why we ain't taking that alliance. Especially now at the end, now that it's very clear who's more than likely going to win. It's like, as things were just flowing, you could see that they were wishing that they had really went with Sasha, aka Shubi, and decided to get in cahoots together. Because one thing about it, Jen and what was it? Tom said it right. I want to call her Ashley. Why I want to call her Ashley? Sam, Raven, and Chaz. Period. They are running the circle. That bond cannot be broken. Whatever it is, the tone that they have set in the circle has continued to spill over into the circle. And I could not be more hyped for it. These are some of the players that I was okay with, winning. Tom, I've been said that I was always a big fan of Tom and him winning if he was to win. So all right, let's get even down to it. So boom. Of course they talk about, how Shubi had to go see someone in the, after, he was blocked. I've been wanting them to see through Jen for so long, and even for her to be the first one, regardless of their so-called little bond, even for her to be the first one to be like, oh, well, Shubi didn't come see me. I wish Sasha would have came see me. I'm like, y'all. But finally, I think, who was it? Definitely for sure, I felt like, Sam started to see through Jen, and somebody else. I want to say it possibly could have been Marvin. But mind you, Marvin is over here really playing this clueless tip. Like, he don't really know why he's being called out, why he was, last to be, he was last rated, rated last in their last, ratings. It's given, bro. You cannot be this clueless. You cannot really think that your game is so tight that even after people were clearly coming at you in the Savages questions or answers, that you still did not realize that your get was up. They realize that you've been two-timing. You're not looking like the honest guy that you sound like in a profile like y'all. He had to go to, and which was a good move. You can't be mad at him. He goes to Chaz like, bro, what did I do? Let me know. I don't know how I got here. I'm like, you really... You are an engineer. You are too smart to be playing these so clueless games. But Chad's being the Chad, he let him know, like, bruh, you've been two-timing, you get is up, you need to go ahead and, like, boom, boom, period. You need to man up. And really, for me, I was like, nope, you need to have them both in the chat, put yourself out there, that you were wrong, but okay, cool. He at least, even though he didn't do it the way I would have preferred him to do it, he had to necessarily do it that way, put himself out there like that. But he did go to Raven and apologize, really try to give him his heart. Raven was not having it. Raven was not having it. Raven was giving, you a fuck nigga and I'm fuck nigga free. That's what it was given. And I'm not fooling with you. Yes, you can apologize, whatever, but I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And it showed in elimination. It showed up in elimination because I felt like that was just, that to me, it was not the right move. And I feel like had they would have possibly, granted, I didn't want Tom at the end of the day. I've been wanting Jen out. But low-key, clearly, it's like Raven is living in her own little world in her apartment because she's thinking like, oh, everybody's just in a to-do, everybody's paranoid. No, you are missing out on what's really going on. And that's cool. You can't always know what's going on in the circle. But baby, sending, when her and Sam became the influencers, I'm like, all right, good, boom. First off, let's even before we even like get there, because I'm ready to go ahead and like to jump into that, right? Let's bring it back a little bit. Mind you, all the while, Jen is the hacker. And so what it just happens is Tamera decides that she wants to confront Jen about why she considered her to be two-faced. One thing about Jen's role in it, and as she, played this role with Raven, is her whole thing is I'm the auntie, I'm not going to throw none of my nieces, nephews under the bus, But the fact that you're not having an opinion, that you're straddling the fence, whatever, fine if that's your role. But just know that role could play up against you. It could play up against you. And while, unfortunately, clearly it did not enough, she still, right, even though it didn't play out that way, the way I would have wanted to for her getting eliminated, it did what it needed to do. It let Raven know that, okay, boom, something is up. It's more going on. Maybe I do need to be a little bit suspicious of her, whatever. But basically, either way, Tamera goes and confronts her about, her being two-faced. They kind of like low-key like go at it. Tamera was also, if it wasn't Marvin, Tamera was also like the get was over for Jen. She was also realizing that nope, something's not up. I'm not liking this whole sweet vibe, this whole da-da-da-da-da, like, come on now. Everybody can get a little tick every here and there. And hey, I get it. This is the road that they had stuck to, but I feel like after a while, people just started to just see right through it. So when it came down to having that interaction with Tamera, they decide that, boom, we don't like Tamera. We don't like how we came at her. It's best at this point that we want to get her out. So how do they do that? They decide that they were going to use Chad's profile to have a conversation with Sam to talk about Tamera and throw Tamera under the bus to make it seem like, well, Tamera was making it seem like, she wasn't with the alliance the whole time. Her and Sasha were in cahoots about the alliance. Basically, they were trying to get Tamera out. And unfortunately, it did not work because once it had came out that people were, that basically that there was a hacker in the chat, I was like, for a second, I was like, really, Tamera, are you really going to go to her and have this conversation? But what I mean, that was the least bit. Because if anything, I honestly felt like for a second that Jen was going to play a game and that they were going to, play around with her, but they didn't. They kept it, whatever. No, you had a conversation with me. Let's try to smooth this over, whatever. it still necessarily did not work. It did not work with Tamera. She was not, and I'm glad. I'm literally just clapping on everybody. I'm clapping on everybody because I'm like, y'all, I need y'all to see this. I need y'all to see all that's going on here. Jen is not it. Please see through Jen. Please see through Jen. Because what I can't have is Jen slowly climbing her way to the top because she in y'all little hearts because y'all think she's this old, good old, sweet old Jen. No. If she was to go and talk to, if Tamera wanted to go and confront Jen to see if, that was such she really had a conversation with, I'm like, okay, somebody might want to have another conversation with somebody. Somebody might have a conversation with somebody. Mind you, they let this know. What was it, right before they were having? No, it might have been after. They had a rating, right? And then they had let them know after the fact that there had been a hacker amongst the ratings or whatever or whatnot. So mind you, I am screaming like, okay, please have a conversation. I have to have a conversation. All the while, I'm happy because at this point, shoot, I done lost her name. Sam. Sam has clearly moved up. She's moved up. Jen has moved down, which I was glad about or whatever or whatnot. Though Tamera was last, I was like, no, we just got to figure this out. We've got to figure this out. I can't remember how it had even, started, but they did end up having a conversation. What's the name ended up going to, I do believe it had to have been Sam that did decide just to go to, Chaz, have a normal conversation. And then the conversation of possibly them having a conversation. And Chaz was like, wait a minute, what? I talked to this person and this person and this person. I didn't talk to you, Sam, y'all. The way I was hollering into the TV, like, yes, talk about it, yes, figure it out, because this was I felt like this was the perfect opportunity, to get things out. And not only Chaz being Chaz is like, we gonna go and confront everybody. So not only do they end up confronting Jen, they also bring Tom in it too. But good old Chaz low-key got his blinders on, so he's getting into the story while Sam is over there like, nah, By that time, she had realized that while she didn't tell I don't think she had ended up telling, because I felt like if she did, had she had told Chaz what the conversation was about between them two, when he talked to Tom and Tom brought up the fact of Jen talking to him about Tamera, and then knowing that the hacker used him to talk to yes, because that's what it was. They lied and said that basically that Shuby had basically went to go and see him instead, and that he basically, Shuby had told, gosh, y'all, it's so many names, there's so many people, but Shuby had went and told Chaz that basically it was her, basically Shuby and Tamera that was in on basically having that whole alliance thing going on. So the fact of them even having the alliance, not even bringing it up, especially when they have been influencers before and were deliberating as far as who was going to get eliminated, because again, Tom was trying to save Sasha, right? So it was getting heated. And I was here for it. I'm like, yes, let's put these connections together. Let's call each other out. And wow, I'm over it. Like, I had to realize, like, guys, it's a game. But even I'd be invested. Y'all, in this. So when I want who to win, at this point, I'd have made these connections too. And you not being loyal, you being shady, you got to go. Game or no game, I don't want you to win. And that's just that. So, well, really, at the end of the day, they ended up eliminating Marvin. And I felt like, regardless, that was not a good move. I get the fact of, at the end of the day, even though he had apologized to her, Marvin had apologized to Raven, the fact that our boy Tom had threw Marvin under the bus, which again, like, it was the moment he started turning into the two-timing, it was like Tom was done. Tom was like, nope, this is not the real guy. And he wasted no time. He wasted no time trying to throw him under the bus. Now, Marvin had a little clapback or whatever, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to the fact that once Tom got in Raven's ear, that was it. And I just knew, just simply because, and even just how she was reacting to, because what did she say? When Sam was telling her about the whole situation with the Tamara and Jen and Tom or whatever. Yeah, because it was basically, it came down to that it was going to be either be Marvin, Tom, or Jen. And so she put the facts out, and she was just like, well, you know what? The only fact that I personally know is just about Marvin. Her having that issue with Marvin was what ended up getting Marvin eliminated. When in all actuality, your biggest threat, regardless if you trust in Marvin or not, because as far as I'm concerned, y'all have Tom right in the palm of your hands. That was not the right move. They had Marvin right in the palm of their hands to do whatever that they wanted. He was gonna, but I get it. You don't trust him, but I would rather not trust this one, keep this one individual that I don't trust, than have two people who clearly have an alliance together. That has to be broken up. So I did felt like that was not the right move. And then ultimately, Tom is the one that gets eliminated when he was never have been rated. I don't think he had been that low. And then he never had been lower than Jen. And him having his back, having Jen's back, it's just like what ultimately ended up getting him eliminated. And then I'm trying to figure out what strategy they were trying to use in voting him last. Is it because you were I just could not think, knowing of who the main players are in this game, who's really been the main, how did you think rated, out of at this point is given Xanthi and Brett got that they want to win just as much as anybody else, even to the point that they was going to throw Tom under the bus just so they can win. Strategy or not, I don't care. They threw their own boy under the bus and was still giggly laughy, are you freaking kidding me? Nope. More reason why they got to go. They got to go, y'all. I'm not with it. So, mind you, as well, things is getting real hot and heavy. I'm over here blushing with Chaz and Oliver. And Chaz, one thing about it, I said, I was like, once Chaz got into the group as well, and then now it was kind of like a 4Z, even though Chaz wasn't necessarily connected to Sam, I was like, oh, this is over. This is over right here, because it's all here. It's all here. And I was like, this is really gonna change up how that rating was going to go. And it really did. As, like I said, Sam being an influencer right along with Raven. I just wish they had not sent home Marvin. Of course, Marvin would go and see, and it only made sense. I was like, if you actually go and see somebody else and you don't go see Raven, bro, you really look like an FNF. You're really looking real FNF-ish. And hey, all right, we get it. You knew, like you said, the girls were going to be the death of you in this game. And they were. The fact that you knew that was more reason why you needed to be on your game. You got to keep that down there and make sure you just mainly keeping this what's going on up here. Because that gets y'all messed up every single time. That messes y'all up every single time. So I still respect the fact that he gave the apology again to Tamara and to Raven. Now at this point in front of the entire, group, that, you know what, I'm not this malicious dude. I just got caught up or whatever. And at the end of the day, that's still my boo. Raven's still woman number one, and I want her to win. And I'm just here for it. And shoot, if Chaz wasn't already a fiance, I'd actually be here for him and Oliver. I was like, oh yes, this is all I need. I just need Oliver to form up with the right people so that we can make sure that the right people still continue to win. And he, It did to do. It did to do. It did what it needed to do. What we talk about next? What's next? I think what was just also funny is the fact that at this point, while Xanthi and Brett are really doing a good job, once they became the hacker, it was just like they didn't start moving as strategic as they thought. And that's where they were caught up at. They were definitely caught up in the fact that's really what really started, because nobody did really know that they were the wifey and husband in the chat. And it took me to remember that, right, they had a chat with Jen, and that's when they had this said the whole wifey husband thing, She was the only person, and they were given, but they didn't think it all the way through. So when someone had words, I think Tom and I think like after the ratings or whatever or whatnot, and words might have been spoken. Yes, it was, because they started, it was fresh off the hacker. Marvin had revealed himself, and they immediately just started going back into talking about, the hacker and how, suspicious that was. Not necessarily a hacker, how Sasha had came in and tried to form that group, and they considered Jen and Tom not to be newbies. So for them to not tell the rest of the group, or at least some of the people in the group, like some of the people were like really offended and bothered by that. And that's how Tom and Chaz ended up having a conversation, and it was Chaz. While Chaz did tell him, like, ultimately I found out that I was, I think somebody used my account, to talk to somebody else. And it took Tom to really put it together. And that's why I say, had Chaz known that that was a conversation that he, or necessarily the hacker, had with Sam, he would have had put the two and two together too. Tom immediately knew that Jim was the hacker. And all the while, our girl Raven was trying to catch up, and that's what I was referring to in regards to Jen. She is thinking that she's doing so well, and that now people are still, with her and nobody's with it. She's like, okay, yeah, she just wanted information. She didn't get it, so now she's gone. No, she was expecting a reaction out of you, a certain type of reaction, and when she didn't get it, that let her all know all that she needed to know is what necessarily happened. So that's what started to get amusing, is she was really, Jen and them were really thinking that they were like really had this in the bag. They realized they did not have it in the bag when Tom confronted them and asked, were they the hacker? And a part of me felt like it might have been dumb, but it was smart. And Tom, being a loyal person that he was, as much as I thought that he might have, he was going to go back and turn back, like, no, he stayed loyal. And that's where Xanthi was coming from. Like, no, we tell him he's had our back. We've been honest with each other. Like, we need to tell them. And he woke up the next morning like, you know what, regardless. And he did have a point. That is his strongest alliance. While he does have a great connection with Chaz, he don't hold no weight in Chaz's game. His number ones is Raven and Sam. Period. And now at this point, Oliver might be coming in at number 3 if he's not coming in at number 4 behind Tom, So I get why it was like, all right, you know what, let me keep this secret. We're going to keep this, down, whatever. And so more games, whatever, more ways, of course, that, they try to find ways to reveal themselves, more ways that the circle tries to reveal themselves to each other. Did that make sense? Did I say that right? I think I said that right. All right, y'all, but it's getting down to the wire. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. And while, cause Chaz had won like a game, and him and he chose Sam to go on a date with, and it's given. That's why every girl needs a husband, because the love and just the talks that we could just have with each other. Like, does anybody need them a wifey? Because I am looking for a husband. Like, I am here for that relationship. But so y'all, it's literally getting down to the end. They had one more, as we know, they had one, I won't say the final because it wasn't the final. They had a blocking in which the very last person was going to automatically be eliminated. And somehow, which I'm still so confused about, I really feel like it had to have ultimately been, what's the name? It had to have ultimately been Jen. And then as well, possibly with, you know, some of the stuff coming out, it just had to ultimately be Jen. I still just don't see how, but I think that's just what it is. Like, Jen is really playing that game, because I really feel like that people are really more seeing through the Jen than seeing through Tom. Like, I'm like, y'all, I'm still just so confused on how I did not see Tom coming in last. I did not see it. I did not see that. And I knew he was going to see Jen. I knew he was going to see Jen. That was to be expected. So that was that. Now, what's actually crazy is not even what's crazy, because I saw it. Like, not even, it disappointed me, but at the same time, it just goes to show the person that Chaz is. Because the moment they were having like the love day, which is like, you know, when, you know, they spread positive love to each other, it just was just like, all right, this is now the calm, because you guys have technically already went through the storm first. So now you're going to get this calm. Things are going to calm before y'all, we find out like who the actual winner is going, you know, to be possibly in all of this. But mind you as well, what's the name gets the super chat. But before I even get to talk about him being the super chat, so, you know, everybody is seeing their families, things like that. I always love that. Probably because I'm a big crybaby, and I just always get emotional with them, you know, when they're seeing their loved ones, just root them on and talk about how proud of them, you know, that they are. And something just hit Chaz, and he reached out to, you know, Jen and Tom, apologizing for coming at them. And I'm like, but bruh, they lying to you. They've been lying to you. Loki Tom over there feel bad because he knows that they're lying to you. But your heart, everybody's human, whatever. Like, it started to get back about into the bonds, and the friendships, and that connecting that way versus, you know, did they, who's gonna win the game, more or less, or whatever, I guess, so to speak. So, like I said, as I was about to say, before I went back, what's the name of the super chat? He's the super influencer. Chad's the super influencer, so he is actually going to be blocking somebody, and he's making it seem like he might be doing a surprise blocking, like possibly, but no, I honestly don't see it. I think he's either, more than likely, it'll probably be Oliver, Jen. It may not even very well be Jen. I could very well see it being Oliver, or even though with him and Oliver like having a bond, I could just see it being either Oliver or Tamara. We're gonna say Jen, but part of me is just like, I just don't think he has the balls to let Jen go. So we're gonna see, y'all. We're gonna see. I'm super excited. We have one more episode, y'all. We have one more episode, so definitely make sure that bell is wrong, that you've banged it, and because we gotta make sure that you're here when I drop that very last video. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok. Those things are down in the description below, or I'll try to go ahead and drop them down about like right here. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next recap.